gunmen and their onslaught against security operatives in the southeastern part of the country seem to have forced the governors of the 5 southeast states to set up a regional security outfit codenamed Ebubago. The decision was reached at the end of their meeting with leaders of the Ohaneze Ndigbo and security chiefs from the 5 states in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The governors say the new joint security outfit will have its headquarters in Enugu, where activities of the local vigilante groups will be coordinated. Channels Television's correspondent Hydropower reports.
The 5 southeast states have had their share of insecurity in recent times. From the violent clash in Uzowan, a local government area of Enugu State, that left at least 8 people killed, to the numerous kidnappings and clashes in Abia North local government area of Abia State, the massacre of about 18 people in Egedegede community in Ishielu local government area of Ebonyi State, the attacks on security personnel in Anambra State, and to the most recent attack on police headquarters and custodial center in Owerri, the Imo State capital, by gunmen. This trend, no doubt, is a cause of worry for the 5 governors of the region. That is why the Southeast Security Council meeting is convened with all the security chiefs in the Southeast and the leadership of Ohaneze Ndigbo in attendance. The meeting immediately enters into a closed-door session which lasted for over 2 hours. Afterwards, the doors are opened and the governors emerge to brief the media on the outcome of the meeting, with the most significant being the establishment of a regional security outfit codenamed Ebubago.
The heads of all the security agencies in the Southeast have resolved to exchange intelligence in a seamless, effective new order that will help to checkmate crime in the zone. That to fast-track crime busting in the Southeast, the heads of security agencies have been mandated to draw up a comprehensive list of their logistics and material needs for sustainable success in the fight against criminality, for immediate provision by the leadership of the Southeast and federal governments. That a committee made up of security personnel, government officials, and relevant stakeholders be set up to coordinate and monitor the implementation of Southeast Joint Security Platform. We applaud the initiative of Southeast Security Summit and to make it a statutory summit that we convene every quarter while it's hosting share rotate among the 5 Southeast states. The meeting resolved to maintain a joint security vigilante, which already has been formed in the 5 Southeast states for the Southeast, and the joint security outfit to coordinate the activities of our vigilante in the 5 South states shall from today be known and called Ebubago Joint Security Outfit for Southeast.
They also condemned the recent attacks on facilities in the southeastern states and clashes between farmers and herders in the region.
The meeting condemns very highly the killings in all Southeast in the recent time, and they asks the federal government and security agencies to bring justice to the victims by way of bringing all the murderers to face the law.
In recent times, the security challenges in the Southeast have been giving political leaders, security agencies and residents sleepless nights. Hopefully, the establishment of Ebubago Joint Security Outfit by the Southeast governors for the people of the Southeast will complement efforts of security agencies in bringing crime to its barest in the zone and ensure safety of lives and property. Hydropower, Channels Television News.
Now, more information on the operations and reasons for setting up the Southeast Security Outfit has been explained by the governor of Abia State, Sixyearold. The governor believes the introduction of Ebubago is long overdue and will help in tackling some of the challenges facing the Southeast region. He was guest on our political program, Sunday Politics.
We are going to make sure that there are no ungoverned spaces. The forests will be combed. We will root out anybody who is not supposed to be in the forest and ensure that at the end of the day, we have everybody and everything happening around our geopolitical zone within our purview. There's not going to be any blind spots. We're not going to allow ungoverned spaces. We're not going to allow forests that are unmanned by anybody, such things won't happen again. Every state will respond according to the weight of the challenges or what he has capacity to bear. For me in Abia, for instance, if I want to do 200 boys per local government, that will be giving me 3,400. My colleagues can decide to do something more. Whether they will bear arms or not, my response will be that we will be prepared to match whatever arsenal that is confronting us with equivalent force.
Can you tell us, Governor, are the violence in your region, in your state, for example, political in nature, or is just some kind of insurgency that we are seeing?
The Nigerian state has allowed a situation where some citizens are beginning to feel unprotected, uncared for, and that has given rise to what they now call non-state actors. We have been unable to define enemies of the state and draw the red line. This has created a lacuna, and the people are beginning to resort to self-help. But we are saying that we've been elected to protect our people. We are capable and we are rising to that responsibility as I speak.
And while the Southeast Governors' meeting was ongoing, gunmen suspected to be Fulani herdsmen struck again in Imo State, kidnapping a Catholic priest from the Mother Teresa of Golgotha Catholic Church. The priest, Reverend Father Marcel Izu Onyocha, was abducted while returning from Enugu State to Imo State in company of a friend when his car developed a fault around Ihube community in Okigwe local government area of Imo State. According to the Imo State Police Command Public Relations Officer, Orlando Ikopu, as they were trying to fix the vehicle, a group of people suspected to be herdsmen emerged from the bushes and inflicted machete cuts on the other man while the Catholic priest was abducted. The State Commissioner of Police, Nasiru Muhammad, has activated all the tactical teams of the command with a view to rescuing the priest and possibly arresting the culprits. From the southeast of the northern state of Kaduna, where the police say they have rescued 15 victims kidnapped in Beningwari local government area of the state. A police spokesman, Mr. Muhammad Jalige, says victims were traveling along the Bruku-Beningwari road around Unwanyako forest when they were intercepted by the bandits in an attempt to kidnap them. Mr. Jalige explained that a swift response by the police forced the bandits to retreat and flee into the forest, with bullet wounds abandoning their victims. In another development, police operatives also recovered 32 rustled cows from bandits in Kajuru local government area of the state. The bandits were intercepted around Dutsingaya village of Kajuru local government area as they were moving large herds of cattle and were engaged in a fierce gun battle by troops, which forced them to take to their heels with bullet wounds while the operatives recovered the rustled cows. We're staying with security. The residents of Tunga Maje, a town in the nation's capital, Abuja, are lamenting the rising cases of kidnapping in the area. The town has been in the news for several criminal activities, especially kidnapping. The latest being the foiled attempt to kidnap the vice chairman of the Gwagwalada branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. David Agbufo. Our correspondent, Kayla Megwa, visits the town.
Tunga Maje, a suburb in the nation's capital, is an hour's drive from the city center. The town has seen a recent spike in criminal activities as many FCT residents troop to Tunga Maje to build houses. Land in this area goes between 3 and 8 million naira, a lot cheaper than what it costs in the city center. As with most suburbs in the nation's capital, bad roads and poor security presence are a reality for the residents. We take the bad winding road to the home of barrister David Agbufo. He, like most of the residents here, was drawn to the area by the cheap cost of land and moved here in 2020 with his wife and one-year-old son. On Tuesday, 6th of April 2021 at about 1 a.m., while he and his family slept, he was attacked by 5 gunmen wielding AK-47 rifles. He tells me how he fought them off with a machete.
There's one here. Try open it. Then I help you to open it. And then
Then you cut his hand.
a cut.
You cut his hand.
Yeah, from the neck first. Then the second cut back, then he fell to this place.
You know, it took about like 10 minutes. I didn't hear anything, so I was scared, thinking that maybe they must have taken him away. So I had to tiptoe to call him, and he answered, so he now came out.
Sadly, his assailants escaped.
It's my wife and my son. My daughter, though adopted.
After such an attack, I tried to find out if he still feels safe living here with his family.
It's just about few individuals that are causing this mayhem in the whole community. One of those individuals are taken out. This place could actually be one of the best places to stay.
While the attack was on that night, Mr. Aigbofo called two numbers, the police and the neighborhood vigilante. The vigilante showed up.
They hold AK-47 and I just hold double barrels. When I had their own firing, so I stand somewhere here. So when I throw the fire, then I now follow at the back of this bush. So I stand here. Anyone that I saw coming out from the gate, I'll bring in them. So I know that they already stay out.
So far, the police say 17 people suspected of carrying out criminal activities in the area have been arrested from their hideouts in these rocks around the area. But this is not the first time raids have been carried out here, and still, the crime rate continues to rise.
Not be smarting with the first year. Even our councillor in Tungamaja here, they took his son, and up to now we haven't found the son. Police in Zuba, sometimes when we call them, they will say they are vehicle for not inside. Not only vigilante for Tungamaji here, they are facing challenge.
It is the dream of every Nigerian to own a home of their own. And for many people who live in the nation's capital, because of the high cost of living in the city center, they make their way to suburbs like Tungamaje to find that little piece of earth that they can call their home. These hopes are being dashed every day with insecurity, kidnappings and banditry and constant robberies in suburbs like Tungamaje. The call is for the FCT security agencies to increase security presence in these suburbs so these people who are just looking for a home can live in peace. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Staying in the nation's capital, the police have arrested 17 suspected cultists along Wawalada, Gwagwa, Lugbe and Kurudma axis of the city. Police authorities say these suspects were arrested by the anti-cultism unit during raids and patrols, and they have confessed to being members of confraternity groups terrorizing the areas. Locally made pistols, live ammunition, cartridges, axe, machetes, wraps of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, and charms were also recovered from them. Police say the suspects will be arraigned in court after investigation has been concluded. In part two, after the break, we have more on the security situation across the country. This time in Oyo State, where armed robbers killed 2 private security guards. We'll also be joined by in-house data analyst Babajide Ogusowo to look at the proliferation of small arms in the country. Welcome back. If you just joined us to watch the news at 10, live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Governors of Southeast states rise up to security challenge in the region, set up a regional security outfit codenamed Ebubago. Gunmen abduct Catholic priest in Imo, just as police rescue 15 kidnapped victims in Oyo State. Heavy rainstorm wreaks havoc in Benue and Niger communities. Government pledges relief for those affected. And UK observes official mourning. We continue with security matters, this time in Oyo State, where armed robbers killed 2 private security guards at a filling station along Ondo Road in Akure, the state capital. The incident was reported to the police by the manager of the station, who also said an unspecified amount of money was carted away by the robbers. The command public relations officer says investigation has commenced as he gives the assurance that the armed robbers will be apprehended and prosecuted as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has confirmed the attack on its facility in Damascus in Borno State yesterday. The humanitarian coordinator and head of the UN mission in Nigeria, Mr. Edward Callon, says he is deeply concerned about the recurrent reports of violent attacks by non-state armed groups putting the lives of civilians under risk. He also condemned the attack on humanitarian aid operations and facilities that are, according to him, the lifeline for people affected by violence and conflict in northeast Nigeria who are dependent on assistance to survive. He asked that humanitarian operations in Damascus have been reduced due to the violent attacks as a support to 8,800 internally displaced people and 76,000 people in the host community receiving humanitarian assistance and protection there has been halted. 4 persons, including 2 soldiers, died during the attack. About 5,000 residents of Papre village in Hong local government area of Adamawa State have been displaced and an unconfirmed number of persons abducted following an attack by Boko Haram insurgents on the community on Friday. 5 persons were also killed in the attack. The Executive Secretary of the Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency told Channels Television that the gunmen invaded the community, shooting sporadically, looting food items and setting houses ablaze before abducting some women and children in the process. He asked that 50 houses, worship centers, markets and schools were also burnt.
About 9 trucks, 9 vehicles. They surrounded the village. They started shooting. They killed 7 people there in the village, destroy their food items, carted away with some. They've burned down not fewer than 40-50 houses. They've burned down their primary school, their secondary school, their market, their viewing center, and 3 churches.
Crime is a chain, but a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Will finding the weakest link of weapons supply solve the insecurity challenges that the nation faces? Abajide Ogusanwo, data scientist and information consultant, shares insights on the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Thank you for joining us again tonight.
Good evening, Amarachi.
Good evening. And this is a pretty interesting topic. We're talking security and light weapons, and we're expecting figures and, of course, data. But the former president, Abdulsalam Abubakar, has shared intelligence that points to potentially more than 6 million illegal weapons in Nigeria. Is there any record of when those weapons started flowing into the country?
So the first word is, you've used the right word, potentially up to 6 million. Some other estimates put it up at 30, 35 million. But tonight I would like to talk about small and light weapons, the illegal ones, from 3 perspectives: the history, the present, and why I'm concerned about the future. Now, with the history of small and light weapons, especially the illegal ones, the truth is, on this day, more than 4 decades ago, exactly on this day, April 11, 1979, President of Uganda, Idi Amin, was sent out of office by Tanzanian rebels and anti-Idi Amin rebels. How did these rebels achieve their goals? They used small and light illegal weapons exactly on this day in 1979. But make no mistakes, the history of small and light weapons, the illegal ones, doesn't just date back to 1979. We have records that shows that mercenaries have been operating with illegal weapons in Africa for more than half a century. That is the history. The present is the numbers we're currently looking at. Potentially 6 million, 10 million, 12 million, or even more. But those numbers, for me, are even good news. Here's why I'm bothered about the future. The United Nations estimates that in the world today, we have an estimate of 1 billion illegal small and light weapons circulating all around the world, and these weapons are fast moving into countries that are unstable. That is my fear.
Yeah, and some actors are actually benefiting from this. So here's the big question, though. Where are these weapons located, and which countries are supplying them?
So looking at the research that we've studied, we've seen that there's a transition. Most of these weapons are from that transition between the arid northern region of Africa, North Central Africa. We also see a lot of weapons from the Senegal side, Senegal, Mauritania, Burkina Faso. We see a lot of small weapons based on reports in Mali, Mauritania. We also see, that Horn of Africa where we have Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya. So in summary, a lot of these weapons are located from the middle of Africa upwards. That is where you have more than half of illegal weapons stored, from the middle of Africa upwards.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything about the source, right? That just tells us about the routes they're taking.
That tells us about the route. But let me, in the common man's language, the ogak patakpata of them all, we'll say is Libya. And I'll explain 3 reasons why Libya has a comparative advantage being a country where weapons come in. And the first is size. Libya is 1.8 million square kilometers. Now, let me make you understand that a bit. Libya is approximately 2 times the size of Nigeria. That is the first. The second of 3 reasons is Libya is experienced. Now, by experience, let me also make it clear. Libya, before they were taken off the terrorist list in 2006, they had been classified as one of the countries in Africa that sponsors terrorism since 1979. In other words, Libya had been classified as a state sponsor of terrorism for almost 3 decades. Now, the final reason is Libya's geography. And by geography, upwards to Libya is the Mediterranean Sea. In other words, if you want to catch weapons coming into Libya, it perhaps will be easier for you to catch all the fish in the sea than for you to be able to catch all the weapons that are coming into India. But we've seen some good news, especially from listening to what the former president, Abdulsalami Abubakar, talked about. And it shared some hope that even though we are seeing concerns today, these concerns are focused on 3 things: that the military is overstretched, the military is underfunded, and the military as well is going beyond a lot of things that they were set up to do. So the exact words were the military is overstretched, security agencies are overstretched, they are under-strengthened, and they are underfunded. But the military agencies still have given their report. They've given some positive news. And if we take a look at the summary of what the service chiefs are saying, we see some hope in that. They're talking about achieving peace. They've talked about whatever happens, the positive thing is Nigeria will have peace again.
We have been hearing that for a really long time, the issue of peace. But what is your security forecast? And this is a long shot, though. When will the negative stories end?
It's a difficult forecast to place. It's a difficult forecast to place. But what we know is we have to follow what the African Union is also doing. And if we look at the timeline of activities since the African Union was set up, then we see some positive forecasts, especially because the African Union is creating what is called Stopping Gun Violence in Nigeria, silencing the guns. Those silencing the guns are their words. And if we're able to push through that, again, African Union is more Nigeria than any other thing else. But we need to follow protocols. We need to work closely with the United Nations, and we also need to develop our internal standards. Let's not forget some of the causes of these issues. The causes of illegal weapons are not just social, economic, or environmental. We need to look at all the causes of insecurity and all the causes that are bringing in the small and light illegal weapons. But again, in the final analysis, Nigeria, it's inevitable. Nigeria will have peace again.
Well, we'll say amen and keep our fingers crossed. Putting all the hopes, of course, on the military and the government to explore all avenues to make sure that this is...
yes, but for instance, for the security agencies as well, what the former president had talked about is, because a lot of people have asked, what does it mean by they're overstretched? And by being overstretched, their responsibilities are clear in the Constitution, Section 217, subsection 2. It states that the military has been set up for protecting against external aggression. Those were the 2 words in that section, external aggression. What we have in Nigeria today is the military is working on external aggression and internal aggression. Some have shared concerns that the military do no longer have the sort of skills that they had in the past. The evidence shows that that is not correct. The evidence, for instance, based on research, shows that for every soldier that is killed, approximately 35 to 37 members of the Boko Haram are killed. So the challenge isn't that the military aren't skillful. What exactly is going on is whenever Boko Haram recruits Amarachi, they send the new recruits to the front line. Whenever the Nigerian Armed Forces recruits, they don't send the soldiers immediately to the front line. There's a process. So what is happening is the military, in terms of the ratios, number of soldiers, deaths due to terrorism is low. However, the advantage Boko Haram has is they are recruiting and sending straight to the front line.
Yeah, but the military still has a better advantage anyway. It's just that I do get the point where they're overstretched because they tend to be doing the work of both the military and the police and other security
overstretched
forces.
And underfunded. So,
well, Babajide,
I know you
conversation
have to go.
For another day.
The inevitable now is that you have to go.
Let's put a pin in that. But I just wanted to say congratulations on your new show on Channels Television, The Lantern. Tell us what to expect, though.
Very rigorous security analysis, and it will be exclusive here, 9:30 to 10 p.m. It will be security analysis, security reviews like it has never been done before.
Yeah, and of course, with you anchoring that, we can expect, really deep conversations.
The deepest conversations happen only here.
I look forward to it. I watched tonight's episode. Thanks again for joining us
The pleasure is all
on
mine.
the News at 10. We'll make a switch now to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still very much with the world and its attendant economic consequences. What countries like Nigeria, that are said to be in the fairly difficult fiscal position, are doing is to drastically curtail non-essential and sometimes frivolous expenditure from the top leaders in particular. That's the view of the director of the Center for Social Justice, Mr. Eze Onyekbere. Mr. Onyekbere told Channels Television's Ladi Akeredulale on our current affairs program, Newsnight, that the truth is that Nigeria is broke and its leaders need to set an example for citizens to follow. He insists that the present security challenges is a sign that the led are seeing the lifestyle of the leaders and do not see any seriousness in adjusting to the realities of now and are seeking their own ways of survival.
We've got ourselves into a bind where it is like we're under automatism or compulsion to borrow. But I don't think it should necessarily be so. And that's why I made the point that we are broke. If we're a private company, maybe somebody could have said, liquidate the company. Now, when a company or an individual is broke, is as poor as Nigeria today, has a fiscal crisis, what I think should be done is that it starts from the leadership, telling themselves the naked truth that we can't continue spending or wasting resources at the level we were doing it before. The music and the song has changed, so we need to change our dance steps. And then when they now cut down their spending, it will be easier for them to market the idea of tightening your belt to Nigerians. Because the days are gone when you sermonize and sit on Moses' seat like the scribes and Pharisees used to do, and then expect me to do what you say and not what you do. It's not going to work. That's why you have so much tension. Nigerians are seeing the lifestyle of their leaders. So any sermon about tightening our belt or cutting down does not fly. So when we see them take that first step, it's easy for the masses to queue in.
And you can watch the full interview with Mr. Onyekbere. It airs tomorrow night on Channels Television, Monday, April 12th at 9 p.m. Over 31 international grazing areas, water points and cattle routes have been recovered in Gujba Local Government Area Council of Oyo State as part of efforts to end the clashes between farmers and herders. It's the outcome of the joint exercise by farmers, herders, traditional rulers, local government officials, as well as security personnel who recovered the demarcated international cattle routes encroached to forestall further clashes.
Farmers and herders conflict is one of the major challenges in Nigeria. According to Amnesty International, Government's failure to bring perpetrators to justice has resulted in the deaths of over 3,641 Nigerians in the past 3 years. This is one of the international cattle routes in Oyo State, leading to Republic of Cameroon to the south, Gabon and Central Africa to the west. Over the years, many lives were lost in clashes as a result of encroachment of farmlands or cattle routes.
This issue is bothering us for at least some decades, and there is no any local government chairman that initiated to solve this issue.
The national body of the Miet Allah Cattle Breeders Association believes only proper demarcation of the routes can mitigate the challenge.
Let those state governments who have grazing reserves in their state begin to fairway reclaim those routes that link one grazing reserve to another, so that we can come over this farmer-herder conflict that was allowed to degenerate into cattle wrestling, later kidnapping and banditry.
As the rainy season approaches, the government set up special committee to recover the demarcated routes. 6 international grazing areas, 22 water points and 3 blocked cattle routes were recovered in Oyo State.
After our swearing in, we sat down, discussed, and then finally we resolved to come out and then see to ourselves where there's any encroachment or there's none.
We have several meetings with the chairman and members of the cattle rearers and also farmers, and this gives us the time and know what is the problem that we came out to see for ourselves and resolve it in time.
The farmers expressed satisfaction with the exercise.
Ina kira ga manoma 'yan uwana, wannan shine zai fitar da mu daga cikin masifar da muke fama da ita da kaka da kuma lokacin shuka na makiyaya da suke zuwa suke yi mana ta'adi.
Yau na fi kowa farin ciki a wannan tafiyar da muke yi. Dalilin da yasa wannan matsalan da muke da shi sama da shekara 10 kusan 20 muna fama akan wannan harkan burtoli.
With the efforts in place, government is optimistic the clashes between the farmers would be reduced to its barest minimum.
To other stories now, residents of Sixyearold, a community in Opoku local government area of Benue State, are crying out to both federal and state emergency services for quick intervention following the destruction of over 132 households, schools, churches, telecommunication and power infrastructure by heavy rainstorm which pulled the community down on Thursday night. The community is also seeking help for those injured during the storm.
Sixyearold, a farming community in Opoku local government area of Benue State, is now a shadow of itself after a rainstorm devastated the community on Thursday, April 8th, leaving many residents homeless and injuring some others. Telecommunication and power infrastructure were pulled down by the storm, just as houses and many structures were destroyed. Some of the victims recount their experiences.
Otiche metafo chene owa kekpo a okelana lo lekpo okpo no le nana upanu fo wicho waje lo hi olumabo bia gaga goduma ejenju upanu dudu le fo wicho.
Speaking on the impacts of the disaster, the community head calls on government to help rebuild the affected areas.
Yeah, ojene uvimene ameba ngoyo le la blodu otiche tavo chene no le ya owa pone nene olano ke biaro lo ma ole tame abon la o kamure go ma yen o chela polon dudu.
The popular AK market, where foodstuff is sold, are not spared.
It's a big disaster. Since I was born here, I've never seen this kind of natural disaster via the wind. just about 3 days ago, precisely on the 8th, the whole community was ravaged, completely ravaged.
At the moment, statistics show that 132 houses have been completely brought down, and it's still counting because the community leader and the youths are still taking account of the people and houses that were affected. But at the current count, we have 132 houses already razed down by the storm.
The victims say days after the disaster, no help has so far reached them, particularly those displaced within the community. They are appealing to government at the state and federal levels, as well as emergency management agencies, to come to their aid.
Meanwhile, communities suffering from ecological disaster in Niger State may soon heave a sigh of relief as the Hydroelectric Power Producing Area Development Commission, HYPODEC, has assured them of mitigating the challenge. The commission gave the assurance during the visit of HYPODEC Governing Council to the Nupe traditional ruler and chairman, Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Yahya Abubakar, in his palace in Bida, local government area.
Situated along the river Niger, Niger State is one of the worst hit by perennial flooding, which often leads to loss of lives, destruction of property, as well as farmland. Many communities have been deserted as a result of such disaster. It's the reason the Hydroelectric Power Producing Area Development Commission, HYPODEC, is visiting the state for a second time in a month to assess the situation and court the support of the Chairman, Council of Traditional Rulers in Niger State. HYPODEC intimates the traditional ruler of the Commission's mandate and how it wants to help the people.
With the creation of HYPODEC and the subsequent inauguration of the Governing Council, people in your emirate, indigenous of Niger State, will start seeing the dividends of HYPODEC. We'll seek your support from time to time. We'll come to you for guidance, and we believe that with your vast knowledge and experience, we'll be able to succeed in this task that has been given to us.
According to the Managing Director of HYPODEC, the Commission plans to embark on an assessment of victims of flooding, as well as provide needed technical support to the public.
The objectives of setting the HYPODEC Commission is to address the ecological and environmental challenges suffered by communities living within the riverine area that contribute to the hydroelectricity in Nigeria.
On his part, the Nupe urges the federal government to make HYPODEC more functional through the provision of needed financial resources.
We urge the authority, especially the federal government, to kindly consider whatever sort of support financially to support this commission to actually carry out its duties, because it's one thing for a commission to have the intention to do, and there's another thing to get the resources to do them. But I'm sure the federal government, having signed, consented to the bill that established this commission, they will to put it in a proper budgetary sort of platform.
With the rainy season already here, communities on the floodplain in Niger State are looking forward to seeing what relief HYPODEC will bring their way.
A 6-year-old whose genital was maimed by suspected ritualists in Oyo State has been discharged from the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital after undergoing treatment for over 2 months. She was handed over to the Oyo State government after doctors certified her full recovery. The state government has named the pediatric ward of Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital after her and placed her on scholarship. But for the face mask, the smile on Hawao's face would have been noticed, being in the arms of the governor of Oyo State, Bala Muhammad. The 6-year-old is received at the government house along with her father and other members of her family. After being discharged from the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, following a 65-day admission. She underwent 3 surgeries, which include debridement of wound, perineal reconstruction and skin grafting after her genital was mutilated in December 2020 by suspected money rituals in Jamare local government area of Bauchi State. Hawao is celebrated for enduring emotional and physical pains.
She was discharged because she is fully recovered. There is no any signs of infection. There is no any sign of complication. Her skin grafting was very good, no rejection. There is no scarring, no hypertrophic scar, and there is no any sign of it was very successful, sir.
Governor Bala Mohammed is also happy about her recovery as he unveils plans to further support her.
I want our own pediatric section at the teaching hospital to be named Hawa Ward. And this is just to make sure that this experience is given some indelible mark. And of course, we are going to put keen interest on the growth and development of Hawaii from the Ministry of Women Affairs. We are taking over her responsibility for education from primary to tertiary level.
While Hawao is out of hospital, those responsible for her genital mutilation are still in police custody. The Commissioner for Justice gives updates on the case.
The charges are bordering on attempted culpable homicide because the attempt was an attempt on her life. Incidentally, I was personally in court when they were arraigned, and they took their pleas. Thereafter, the case has already commenced. We have commenced prosecution. It was adjourned, I think, to next month for continuation of hearing.
For now, Hawao is expected to undergo weekly physiotherapy and medical checkups after 4 months. The state government says her psychological well-being is being taken care of, as well as plans to manage possible stigma as she reintegrates into society. Really wishing Hawao all the best. The Oyo State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has given marching orders to contractors to ensure quality and early completion of the construction of the 4.65-kilometer Denro-Akute-Ishashi-Alagbole Road in Ifo local government area of the state. He gave the order as he inspected the progress of work done on the stretch of road, which was awarded to contractors last year.
The Akute-Alagbole-Denro-Isasi Road is a major arterial road linking the densely populated Ifo local government in Oyo State and its neighboring state, Lagos. The 4.65-kilometer road has been in a state of disrepair for many years, despite many promises by past administrations. This, no doubt, has subjected residents and motorists to hardship.
The road is not good. We are suffering a lot for the road, especially when rains fall. We suffer a lot. So if you people can do something about it, that would be very good.
It's a new development anyway, because going by the experiences of this road, it has been a very terrible experience, especially during this rainy period that is approaching. So it's a good idea, and we are all happy that the government at least still remember us here.
Their voice has been heard as men and equipments have been mobilized to site by the state government to commence reconstruction of the road. Governor Dapo Abiodun and his team have come to inspect the progress of work. They were welcomed by enthusiastic residents as he promises to complete the road early.
This particular project is of extreme importance to those that live here and those that commute here. This is a community that joins Lagos. The borders here are completely non-existent, so it is important that in line with our turning the push factor from Lagos to a pull factor, it is important that we ensure that there's accessibility between our people here in Ogun and those in Lagos. So we are committed to ensuring the timely completion of this road. And this particular road leading to Ijoko, we are going to intervene immediately, because we can see that we do not, when the rains begin, it will be a problem to those that are living here.
The governor also inspects the ongoing Oyo State Fire and Ambulance Emergency Station at Isheri. The station will attend to emergencies on the Ogun corridor of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
But we observed in the course of our campaign that one of the biggest problems they have here is fire. And when there's fire, they don't immediately find the fire service to attend to it. So in the wisdom of this administration, we decided that we were going to look for locations that we can strategically locate fire stations. And this is one of those locations.
The inspection tour was rounded off with a visit to the reconstruction of the 2.35-kilometer Arepo journalists' estate in Obafemi Owode local government area of the state.
On our shores now, top nuclear official says a nuclear facility in Iran has been hit by a terrorist act a day after it unveiled new advanced uranium centrifuges. He did not say who was to blame, but urged the international community to deal with nuclear terrorism. Israeli media suggest the incident was a result of an Israeli cyber attack. Just last year, a fire broke out at the Natanz underground facility, which the authorities alleged was the result of cyber sabotage. The latest incident comes as diplomatic efforts to revive a 2015 nuclear deal abandoned by the U.S. under the Trump administration in 2018 have resumed. A special service is held for Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, attended by members of the royal family. During the service at Canterbury Cathedral, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, paid tribute to the Prince. The service came on the third of 8 days of national mourning.
For the royal family, as for every other, no words can reach into the depth of sorrow that goes into bereavement. We all know that it is not simply a factor of age or familiarity. It is not obliterated by the reality of a very long life remarkably led. Nor is the predictability of death's arrival a softening of the blow. Loss.
Members of the royal family said they were feeling a great sense of loss following the prince's death.
The Queen, as you would expect, is an incredibly stoic person, and she described his passing as a miracle, and she's contemplating, I think is the way that I would put it. She described it as having left a huge void in her life. But we, the family, the ones that are closer, are rallying round to make sure that we're there to support her.
It's been a bit of a shock. However much one tries to prepare oneself for something like this, it's still a dreadful shock, and we're still trying to come to terms with that. And it's very, very sad. But I have to say that the extraordinary tributes and the memories that everybody has had and been willing to share has been so fantastic.
The country is observing a week-long mourning period, culminating with the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral on Saturday, April 17th. There will be no public access, no public procession beforehand, and the number of mourners will be limited to 30, with Buckingham Palace stressing that the service will be held in line with COVID-19 restrictions, meaning members of the royal family, including the Queen, would be expected to wear a mask. It was an entertaining day 9 at the ongoing 20th National Sports Festival. Team Lagos and Team Edo will be competing in the football gold medal match in both the men and women's finals scheduled for Monday. The men and women's 400-meter final also had new champions, with Aqua Ibom's Imabong Uko and Delta's Chidio Kezie carting home the gold medals.
At the Uniben Sports Complex, Team Lagos defeated Team Kaduna 4-0 in the women's semi-final football event to advance to the final, where they will be facing the host Oyo State.
For me, the game is not going to be a hard game because we've trained and we are determined for the final. I'm not going to assure, but I'm giving them a confirmation that we own the gold medal.
Team Edo, we don't brag. Edo for the gold. Tell them we are going for the gold.
At the Western Boy High School in Benin City, Team Edo defeated Imo 3-1 in the men's semi-final to set an all-Lagos and Edo gold medal match in both the men and women's football event. The entertaining clash saw the deputy governor of the state coming in as a substitute who missed a clear-cut opportunity that would have handed the host a fourth.
I want to say, first of all, I'm very happy for myself, my team and my state. We're going to take it step by step. We've been doing it right from the beginning of the game. Take every match the way it comes to you. So the final is going to be a success, as every match has been a success. That's the prayer for everybody.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think the tensions are down now that we're in the final, but we won't take it for granted. Both the girls and the men, we won't take it for granted. Our eyes is on the ball and our eyes is on that gold.
In the track and field event, Akwa Ibom's Imobong Inseuko edged out Patience Okon-George for the first time in her career, running a personal best of 51.70 seconds to win the gold in the women's 400 meters final. Team Delta's Chidi Okezie clinched his first NSF 400 meters title in a time of 45.60 seconds to win gold in the men's event.
Wow. In the English Premier League, Manchester United has inflicted further damage on Tottenham's hopes of making the Premier League's top four as they came from behind to secure a fully deserved 3-1 victory. The result sees Spurs stay 7th, but they are now 6 points adrift of 4th-placed West Ham. United, who are 7 points ahead of 3rd-placed Leicester, extend their unbeaten away run in the league to 23 matches and cut the gap to leaders Manchester City to 11 points with a game in hand. Jesse Lingard scored twice to continue his remarkable vein of form and inspire West Ham to a 3-2 victory over Leicester, a result that lifts the Hammers back into the top four. Tennis world number 3 Rafael Nadal says his body's feeling in good shape for the moment and that he's excited for the return of the Monte Carlo Masters after last year's tournament was cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He will begin his campaign on Wednesday against either Frenchman Adrien Manarino or Argentine qualifier Federico Delbonis.
Good, I'm feeling good. Thank you. Yeah, I take it a while. After Australia, going to be my second tournament. It's true that the situation that we are facing not helps to play that often. But yeah, arrived an important part of the season for me, and I think I did the right work to be ready. So let's see. Remain a couple of days of practice here, but yeah, happy the way that I am playing, and yeah, for the moment my body is in good shape. So yeah, I am excited about playing here in Monaco. Again, Monte Carlo, as everybody knows, is one of my favorite tournaments without a doubt. I love being here. Of course, we're going to miss the crowd and the normal tournament. But we are happy that I am happy that we are still able to play.
And the main news again, the governors of the southeast states today rose up to the security challenge in the region as they agreed to set up a regional security outfit codenamed Ibubago. The governors also condemned the attacks by gunmen on security agencies and facilities in the region. Also today, gunmen abducted a Catholic priest in Imo State just as police rescued 15 kidnapped victims in Kaduna. And the UK is observing official mourning for Prince Philip. A remembrance service was held in his honour at the Canterbury Cathedral today. That is the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Good night and stay safe.